Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is meditation a gym for the mind? And it's an interesting topic, I think, because I know it's an analogy that I use a lot when I talk about meditation. So, what's the idea behind it? So meditation is like so let's just use focusing on breathing. So when we meditate, often we'll choose an object to keep our attention focused on, and one of the most common objects we may use is the feeling of breathing. So we try our best to hold our attention at what it feels like to be breathing. So maybe feeling air moving through the nostrils, maybe the chest rising and falling, maybe the abdomen expanding and contracting, and try our best to keep our attention there, but inevitably our attention wanders away. Our attention goes to something else that maybe is really important to us that day. Or maybe it seems like mundane thoughts, but whatever it is, we find that there's kind of this additional clutter that comes in and starts to take over, so that instead of having our attention fully focused, that we find that a piece of our attention goes off and kind of thinks about our day or thinks about something else, or maybe a sound in the room distracts us and that brings our attention away from the breath, and we perhaps spend a period of time not noticing that, and then when we do recognize that our attention has wandered away, we say, oh, my attention's on something else. I'm supposed to be focused on what it feels like to be breathing, so now I'm going to bring my attention back. Okay, so this process of bringing the attention back is like that lifting the weight, right? So let's say I'm doing, every time I'm bringing my attention back, I'm doing one rep, and I'm through a very long extended period of time, we're strengthening the mind, and the mechanism behind that is neuroplasticity. So what we think, do, and pay attention to changes the physical structure of the brain, and there is evidence for that. So this is kind of the reason why going to the gym is a sound analogy for how meditation works. But my one of my mentors, Mark Lesser, who I've talked about quite a few times here, does a lot of corporate mindfulness, and was among other things, the chef at the San Francisco Zen Center for quite a long time, or managing the kitchen there. And one of the things that he had said at a corporate mindfulness activity is that his co-teacher said mindfulness is a gym for the mind, and he comes on afterwards and says mindfulness is not a gym, is not like going to the gym, and went on to explain. And so I just kind of want to explain that as well, because I think this is really important for how we don't get caught up in what our expectations for the meditation is. Because when we go to the gym, I think that we have maybe a clearer goal, right? Or that a more concrete goal. And we talked about this last time. What's the difference between goals and intentions, right? And so maybe I'm going to the gym because it's very clear. I want to have bigger muscles, or I want to lose weight, or I want to. Well, I mean, these are usually the two big ones, right? I want to look more fit, right? This tends to be the reason. Although maybe there are more reasons behind it, that I recognize that physical exercise is important for my mental health, and resistance training helps me hormonally, right? Like, recognize all of this kind of thing. But it tends to be, going to the gym tends to be around changing the way that I look, right? So I just wanted to actually read what Mark had said about this. So quoting, I clarified that going to the gym implies that you are meditating to get a result, and that you expect step-by-step improvement. Having a reason or goal can be useful and encouraging when it comes to having the motivation to meditate. And more stability and being less tossed around by thoughts may be one of the benefits of regular meditation practice. But this going to the gym metaphor can be a hindrance or limit to the real power and benefits of meditation practice. The practice of knowing yourself and going beyond yourself, shifting your relationship with fears, stress, and anxiety, and living and working with more appreciation, richness, and depth. Another approach to meditation is to completely let go of any ideas or hopes of improving or getting anything. Instead, as you meditate, see what it's like just to be quiet, still, breathing, alive. Explore appreciating your experience, seeing yourself and accepting yourself as you are, without any idea of improvement, expectations, or gain. Boredom, grieving, regrets, joys, possibilities, all interesting and informative. The practice of letting go of improvement and expectations can be strangely empowering and effective in opening our ability to listen, understand, and shift our relationship with the narratives and problems that we engage with daily. So this really kind of coincides with the idea of non-striving. And last time we did talk a little bit about how non-striving and self-compassion fit in with our meditation practice, how we can have discipline, how we can work towards what we have intended for our meditation practice. After all of us have to have a reason to be sitting down on the cushion, right? If we don't have any reason, then we maybe we're and frankly, I've had times in my meditation practice where I'm just meditating because this is what I do. I meditate every day, right? And I show up and I do my meditation without really, kind of aimlessly, without knowing what it is I'm there for. So I think it's positive and important to have an intention and to see what effect meditation's having on us, because that can be very motivating. But also at the same time, is it possible that every time we sit for meditation that we let go of expectation? That we don't go, today I'm meditating because I want to be less stressed. Is it possible for, and even going, hey, I recognize that meditation makes me less stress, next week, right? Is it possible to let go of that expectation completely and use every step of our practice as an exploration of self, and to go, hey, it's okay, right? I've lost, and I think that this was maybe a and it's funny to use the word milestone when we're talking about non-striving, but I think it was a milestone in my practice when I was able to just be there with whatever came up, and to go, oh, this is interesting. I'm not focused today. My mind is wandering like crazy, and I can't stay focused on my breath. And my mind keeps going back to that thought, instead of being frustrated and going and trying so hard to push that annoying thought out of my mind, to welcome it, to explore it, to be there for it openly, curiously, every single time it shows up. And that's my encouragement for you in your meditation practice as well. So yes, neuroplasticity means that each time our mind wanders away and each time we bring the mind back, we are making our mind stronger. So trusting in the research, in the knowledge that works, but at the same time, not having the expectation, seeing if we can let go of the expectation that each time we meditate is going to have some effect, and to be curious and to explore and to watch as you change and maybe it's not this upward trend that we're expecting. Meditation certainly requires a lot of patience. So can we be there and open to whatever it is that shows up. All right, welcome. Again, welcome everyone. We're going to get into our period of practice today, so get comfortable. So I would encourage you to find a posture that's going to be supportive of your practice. So could be sitting on the floor cross-legged. If you're sitting in a chair, seeing if you can bring your back away from the backrest. One thing that could be helpful is to sit on the edge of the chair. And what's the reasoning behind this is so that we can be combining relaxation and alertness. So this is the key to our meditation posture, something where I can be relaxed, comfortable, yet fully awake, fully alive, and not nodding off and falling asleep. If you like, allowing your eyes to close, or perhaps having a gaze around 45 degrees downwards. If you'd prefer to keep your eyes open. So checking into the body, the head, the neck, the shoulders. You can feel free to move your head around a little bit. Roll your shoulders a few times. See if that encourages a little bit of additional relaxation in the upper body. And then beginning to draw our attention towards the breath, let's breathe in together. So at the end of your next exhale, let's breathe in to a count of 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, letting go of all control, allowing your breath to be natural. And focusing the attention on this feeling of breathing. So if you're new to mindfulness meditation, perhaps the easiest place to begin following the breath is at the abdomen. Feeling the belly as it expands on the inhale, contracts on the exhale. And if I'm paying attention at my belly, one of the things I'm also using to hold my attention is the feeling of my t-shirt gently brushing against my skin as my body is changing shape, allowing room for the air to come in. Getting smaller as the air goes out. So there's no right way to be breathing. However you're breathing is however you're breathing. The breath is interesting in that it spans across that conscious and unconscious mind. When we're not paying attention to it, we're not controlling it. It's just happening. Is it possible, as best you can, to let go of control? Let the body, with its wisdom, do the breathing, and you just coming along for the ride. Paying attention as the air goes in, paying attention as the air comes back out. Is your mind still on the feeling of breathing? Or have you found that it's wandered away? If your mind has wandered, remember, it's not failure. It doesn't mean I can't meditate. In fact, this is where the improvement comes. This is where the flexing of the mental muscle happens as we recognize that our mind is not where we want it to be. It's not doing what we expect it to be doing. So being aware of that, recognizing that, and then redirecting the mind back to fully focusing attention on this physical sensation of breath. Expansion as we breathe in, contraction as we breathe out. Okay, keep it up, everyone. You're doing great. Just keep focusing on breathing. If it's challenging for you, just remembering that even if the mind is wandering, as long as you're bringing it back, you're getting the benefit out of this practice. Even if it takes a few minutes to become aware that the mind has wandered away, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all part of the practice. Okay, our time of meditation is just about up, so I'll end our practice with 3 rings of the bell. After the sound of the 3rd ring subsides, feel free to begin to open your eyes and to move your body around in any way you like. All right. Here, let me stretch out a little bit. So how was it? How was your practice today? I'll tell you, always feels good to share a little bit about mine. I mean, I had a bunch of thoughts, right? That's the first of all. A lot of times what I'll do is that I'll go from that moment into this moment where I'm talking to you, kind of thinking like, what am I going to talk about when I finish meditating, which is kind of interesting. And then I remember thinking about, my thoughts are all going into the future, right? So this is something that I'm recognizing, that my thoughts are going into like what I have to do today, things about my meditation practice that I want to change, ways to improve my meditation practice. And again, these are not meditating, right? These are thoughts. So I'm not focusing on my breath. I'm thinking about meditation is not meditating. And the other thing was that as I got caught up thinking about how all of my thoughts were about the future, I also noticed a few thoughts that were showing up about the past. So just goes to show that even my observation about my thoughts tends to be incorrect. So as Claire had said in her comment here 20 minutes ago, I love the idea no expectations. So is it possible to just see what is, and to not be expecting our meditation to be a certain way? How was your meditation? So feel free to share in the chat. John says, felt like I was at war with my invading thoughts. And what was that like, John? And I always kind of ask, especially those who are at war with their thoughts, is it possible to let it in and to not be at war with our thoughts, and to go, this is just the state of my mind right now? And I guess if you've been meditating with me for a while, you'll know my analogy of rolling out the red carpet. Can you roll out the red carpet? So welcome intrusive thoughts. Come on in. Sit down for a while, have some tea, right? I know it's hard sometimes to think about, and maybe counterintuitive to what we think we should do. But I guess that's been my most effective way to deal with intrusive thoughts, is to just go, well, it's here already, so be here. Since you're here, be here. It's a good moment. I know I've promised Jean that one of these days I'll put my recording of Rumi's guest house on Insight Timer, and I haven't done that, and I think that was one of my thoughts too as I was meditating today. But that's always a good reminder, right? This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So, I love that. I mean, that's kind of the quintessential mindfulness poem, and it's something. It's a good reminder. And I've got other stories and parables and stuff to talk about why to roll out the red carpet for your difficult thoughts. And I guess I want to ask John, is it helpful hearing that, or does that make you feel more frustrated, or what's that like? Does that resonate with you? And like, no, it doesn't is certainly an acceptable answer. Jean says, I had a few thoughts come wandering in. Nothing specific, almost like a dream. Then I realized, oh, you're not focusing on the breath. Come back. So that's great. Thanks, Jean, for sharing. Thanks, John. I'll try rolling out the carpet next time, he says. And I have to say, in my own practice, Rumi's the name of the author. It's the 14th century Sufi poet. You're most welcome. As I've worked on rolling out the red carpet in my practice, I guess I just want to share this, is that it's a long process, right? Like to be at peace with intrusive thoughts and to roll out the red carpet for them and to not resist them and not put up a wall and not be at war with them was especially, and I guess I'll share this too, because I've seen in the chat some of the things you've said, John, was that it was specifically when I was having a difficult time with my partner, with my spouse, right? That like some of the intrusive thoughts I had during that time were really, really difficult for me to deal with, and I have to say that's something that I discovered, was that as I rolled out the red carpet for them, there was a season for them that after, and I hope this isn't too discouraging, after maybe a month of meditating every day and having that same intrusive thought coming back over and over again for a month or maybe even more, that finally my mind somehow resolved that thought and it really didn't bother me anymore. And again, another thing to say, thoughts aren't truth, right? Sometimes it feels so much like what I'm thinking is truth, right? My thoughts are real, my thoughts are true. And is it possible as well to know that thoughts are just thoughts? That thoughts don't mean that this is a fact, this is truth, because they're not, right? Because we think all kinds of crazy things, and our minds are designed to think all kinds of crazy things. That's part of human survival, right? That's how we lived, was by thinking some of the most negative things, so that we were more careful. Usually my thoughts are about the past or the future before coming back, says Jean. Thanks. Nat, I have intrusive thoughts coming back from the past. Thank you. Jean says, I've been finding it easier to give advice about letting it happen, thoughts and emotions, and find myself fighting or trying to push away unhelpful thoughts. I'm not doing what I say to do. Thanks, Gene, for sharing. Yeah, it's hard. It's certainly hard. Find ways to distract ourselves. That's I guess that's a surefire way to make sure those thoughts come back. Is it possible to welcome and see what happens? Thanks everybody for being here today. Meditation is like going to the gym. Meditation is a gym for the mind, yet meditation's not a gym for the mind. So there are aspects of meditation that's like going to the gym. Bringing the mind back is strengthening the mind, just like lifting that weight is strengthening that muscle. And, you can't help but get a little bit stronger if you keep doing this motion over and over again. And at the same time, can we go into our practice without any expectation of change, of growth? To know that, hey, this is designed to make me grow, but can I just go, hey, let go of that. Let go of that idea that I'm growing. All right. I haven't set up the meditation for Tuesday yet, but I will be soon. I'm still kind of juggling around. I'm done with this talking about discipline and structure. So I'll be going back to just to the drawing board to think about what the next topic's going to be. And I'll post it here relatively shortly once I've got it figured out. So, thanks everybody for being here today, and let's close our practice the way that we do by sending some well wishes to ourselves and to everyone else. So follow along if you like. You can repeat after me out loud or in your mind. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life, everywhere, around the world, across the universe, may we all be happy and peaceful. Thanks again, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.